Hey, it's got to go in the trash tier. Let's get it. Now, why? He's just not Killer B. He's just not interesting. It's cool that he also clotheslines people. He just doesn't get any time to shine. Let's be real. It's not pull our punches here. He's fast, but he's not as fast as Naruto or Minato. It's just unfortunate. Donzo, irrelevant. He's just not there for long enough. He's like the acting Hokage. He's collecting the eyeballs. Just doesn't really pay off at all. He's just fodder, just somebody for Sasuke to fight. Um, if I remember correctly, this is Sasuke's dad, also irrelevant. She's pretty cool. Don't know why they made her obese in Boruto. They should have done something with her besides make her obese. Asuma. He's pretty awesome. He's legit. Too legit to quit. Which is why he gets clapped out. Choji. Um, I mean, he's also obese, but he earns it. He's at least cool in his obesity. Datara. I kind of like Datara. I like his like creepy art is an explosion. He's sufficiently weird to make him. I just wish there was more to his powers and maybe have him stick around longer would have been cool. They needed to give him a little bit more character, a little bit more power. You shouldn't have characters keeping up with Akatsuki members that early into the Akatsuki doing stuff. I mean, yeah, he just fights Gara, but the fact that his abilities are creating these explosions, it makes it seem as though those explosions are like maybe they shouldn't be draining him as much as they probably do after he fights Gara. And I feel like that just lowers the character in general. His usefulness within the plot is what lowers him. I forget this character's name. It's so early in the series. But really cool, effective, pretty legit. Hashirama, Senju. I mean, he's cool, but I feel like he's often only cool because of what other characters say about him. He's cool in terms of like a lore character. He's not really there even when he is there. It's more he's this legendary figure, but not as interesting as like Jiraiya or Madara. I think I put him below Asuma. I feel like Toby Rama, Hashirama, and Itachi all get way too much credit for what other characters say they have done. I mean, with Hashirama, at least you sometimes see it. You see his fights with Madara, so it's at least backed up. Whereas Itachi, it's just like, all right, Orochimaru says you're really cool and strong, but if you're so smart and strong, how come you aren't doing anything that's effective to working against Madara? Hidan is way more one of the most threatening Akatsuki members, one of the most dangerous Akatsuki members. Watch my video for Itachi versus Goku because I talk about Goku versus the entire Naruto universe, and Hidan is a big reason why the Naruto universe actually wins because Goku lets himself get hit by abilities, and Hidan has a one hit ability. So you just lose to that if you let yourself get hit by it, right? And Hidan is just, he's so creepy and awesome and cool. And his ability is cool, his weapon is cool. I kind of like the idea of him not actually being gone. This thing where they trap him in the hole, therefore he can't eat. It's just this ridiculous technicality. I feel like you could easily put it within the, you could like kind of retcon things and say, oh, he ate worms under there. Somehow he convinced the worms to join his religion or something stupid. You almost kind of don't even need to explain. To say he didn't die in that hole. Hinata is really cool. I feel like she's just there to be like a reflection of Naruto, where she feels a lot of the same sadness and feels compassion for Naruto. It's just they're unable to make that connection. They should have, the franchise should have focused a little bit more on that. I know they literally have an entire movie dedicated to Naruto and Hinata, but I still feel like you needed more, because Naruto is the main character of the franchise. Give us maybe more than one movie. Give us 3 movies. That sounds like a lot, but you don't even need to give us 3 movies. What you need to do is give us an arc in the anime, because that would be the equivalent of at least 2 movies.
At Best Buy, you can turn the joy of finding the...
But those are my thoughts. I feel like Hinata could have... I always expected that development between her and Naruto to eventually happen, and it just kind of doesn't. Or when it does, it happens way too quick, and then there's like a flash forward in time. Hinata, I'll put her above Choji. Now we have the 3rd Hokage.
At Best Buy, you can turn the joy of finding the perfect gift into the joy of giving the perfect gift.
Where's this ad playing? Holy crap. Crazy ad. Sorry about that. Ino's really cool, but they don't do enough with her. 3rd Hokage. He's just not around enough to matter that much. I'll put him above Hinata. He's no Hashirama. Hashirama's probably more in the series than Sarutobi. Now we have Iruka Sensei. S tier. Maybe not S tier. High legit. Really cool character. Just kind of the straight man for not only the story, but Naruto and Naruto's goofiness. I appreciate I just appreciate him and his placement in the story in the village. Kabuto, I felt like he was always lame. I feel like he's like Deidara. He's one step above Deidara. It's just unnecessary. I don't like it when there's just, when the goon just becomes the replacement for the main bad guy. And it's such a time, there's so much between Orochimaru being the main villain and when Kabuto gets the power boost, and there's way too much going on when he gets the power boost for it to be significant. I feel like it's kind of shoehorned in and rushed. I feel like they realized that everything going on with Sasuke throughout the series is nowhere near as interesting as what's going on with Naruto and the Leaf Village. So they kind of just quarter-assed it, and I think Kabuto is just the culmination of the lacklusterness of the Sasuke storylines. Itachi. Itachi has a lot of presence, right? And his powers are really interesting. And he's powerful enough for them to matter. But like I said, he gets way too much credit. He's considered way too powerful. Nowhere near as powerful as he actually is. Most of what we ever hear about his real combat experiences, like one fight that he had with Orochimaru, which he apparently won, but he didn't like kill Orochimaru. And how does it make any sense at all that Itachi would allow Sasuke to be trained by Orochimaru, who's this like insane lunatic who's doing stuff with dead bodies, resurrecting the dead? Just Orochimaru is the craziest, most dangerous person in this world, in the world of Naruto, in the Naruto universe. Why would you trust him to train your brother? It makes no sense. I like Itachi though as a character, how they use him narratively. I just can't stand like fans of this guy. He's so inferior to Kisame. To me, Kisame has even more presence, even cooler powers. I'm just gonna place Kisame right into S tier. Itachi, I don't like him as much as Iruka or Asuma. Itachi's legit tier, A tier. Kakashi's gotta be S tier. He's just in so much of the story, does so much. I mean, he trains the protagonists. He basically is more of a protagonist than Sakura or Sasuke ever are. It's pretty much the Naruto and Kakashi show. I, as much as I love Kisame and Hidan, Kakashi goes above them. I believe this guy's name is like Kakazu, the guy with the multiple hearts. You have to defeat him multiple times. He's definitely cooler than like Datara. All of these guys. I'll put him in A tier. I'll put him above. I'll put him below Hinata, to be fair. Kiba. I feel like Akamaru should be on this list. But Kiba earns his place just below Ino. Ino is just there later on in the franchise, and just with her, by her being on a team with Shikamaru, she just has more to do. Kiba really is only there for like, he just becomes entirely irrelevant during the tuning exams. Like by the end of the tuning exams, you don't need this character at all. But Akamaru is, you know, I would not say the same of Akamaru. Akamaru is like S tier. Puppet Boy. He ranks decently high, just based off being Gaara's teammate. Killer B, aka Octopops, S tier. Not as high as these other guys. His gimmick of rapping like kind of works better than it should. Her paper ability, it just ends up being so lame and pointless. Madara, S tier. He's not Kakashi. Kakashi's just in more of the story. Madara, I feel like he kind of, it's unfortunate that they couldn't have weaved in his storyline with Obito a little bit better. And they definitely should not have had Kaguya. Madara, the only thing that stops him from being higher than Kakashi is that specific detail and the fact that narratively the plot builds up to Madara for so long just to be like, oh well, there's this Kaguya person, just just dumb, and that lowers him just the tiniest bit. Minato, I can't put him in S tier. He's a bit bland. I'll put him below Itachi. He's cool, but he's bland at the same time. You'd have to watch the series to really understand what I mean. We got Particle Jutsu user. I forget the guy's exact name. He's cool though, a nice like D-list character. He's one of the coolest, extremely minor characters. I'll put him top of decent. Tamari. She's cool. It's cooler than these people, than Ino and what's his nuts? Neji, I feel like a lot of his existence is to just be this bully. So I gotta put him just above. Just below Ino. Above Kiba. Ooh. Mommy Kazekage. She's pretty legit. We just don't get enough of her for that to show itself. So I gotta put her below Hinata. Tenten. I've said it before, Tenten deserved the ultimate redemption for being like the least useful ninja throughout the series. Her specialty in weapons, they could have done a filler arc. They do a little bit of her filler arc in the Infinite Tsukuyomi. I think she should have felt completely useless, and because of being so useless, maybe somehow deep within her mind, she is therefore willing to make a bigger sacrifice than others and does something crazy that just happens to work to break the Infinite Tsukuyomi. In which case, on the battlefield earlier on, they have this like jar or something that is used to permanently seal people, and there's just no counter to it. So her being an expert at rapid summoning weapons and things, I think it would have been a phenomenal for her, feeling so underutilized and helpless, that she somehow uses that to summon her will of fire beyond what other people can, to break the Tsukuyomi, to find that sealing jar, to put it in a scroll, and to get the ultimate drop on Madara. That would have been crazy, right? 10-10 defeats Madara. I think that would have been absolutely perfect and would have been really nice. And definitely would have been better than somebody just summoning Kaguya. Sorcery. His fight kind of drags, but he's cool. He's cooler than Datara. A lot more going on with his abilities. I think I gotta place him pretty high. I know he gets defeated by Sakura. It is what it is. Zetsu. I think it also would have been really cool in this headcanon that I wish existed, if Zetsu, instead of him no longer working with Madara, or like the way that they do it, I think if instead he's there and he watches Tenten sneak up on Madara, and he's like off in the distance, and we see him see it happen and just do nothing. He just allows it to happen. And then that could lead into Boruto, where what were Zetsu's motivations? And then you start Boruto off with Kaguya, and then you do like several seasons before Boruto ever even shows up. You actually develop a lot of these characters instead of doing a time skip. Because way too much happens in this time skip. Let's be honest, he's almost as good as Kisame. The like seven swordsmen, they're just really cool, and these guys are the two coolest of them. Well, really, these three. I may as well. I may as well include Killer Bee. These three guys right here. And then Hidan also has like a really cool weapon as well. Obito. I feel like the problem with Obito is that his plot shakes out well, Madara's plot shakes out, and I know they intertwine, and you don't know if Obito, like, you get unsure of who exactly is who's Toby, who's Obito, who's Madara. Are they all one person? So that just lessens Obito's whole plot line, which just has always lessened the character in my mind. But he is incredibly interesting. He gets to do so much, gets so much incredible powers. I'll put him high A tier. Orochimaru, really mysterious. I think you have to put him in S tier. He's the big bad for pretty much the first half of the entire franchise. And he just provides that mystery and intensity. I'm actually going to put Killer Bee above Zabuza. Or I forget these characters' names from early on. And I think Orochimaru is honestly almost as good as Kisame. What holds him... I don't know what holds him back in my mind, but something does. Hard to quantify. There's so many characters in this franchise. Tobirama, also trashed here. Just uninteresting. Just the brother of Hashirama who has way less abilities and is really fast. These characters who are really fast, but they're like slower than Minato, slower than Naruto. Like, what are you even doing? Right? And none of the characters should be slower than Rock Lee. I mean, faster than Rock Lee. I meant to say faster there. Rock Lee, I think, has to be high S tier. He's the true underdog person who wasn't born with the Jinchuriki or magical eyeball, yet he keeps up with those guys. And yeah, underappreciated. I actually like Lee more than Guy, although I place them similarly. I like Rock Lee a bit more. His like dorkiness, the fact that he doesn't have that confidence throughout the franchise. Sakura. I watched this video where this guy's like, Sakura's not useless. She does all these things. She heals all these ninjas. She's critical to the battle. She throws hands with Kaguya. She beats sorcery. No. No, 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 no. Like, plot-wise, you just don't need such a nothing character. And, like, throughout the story, she is holding back other characters. It's just nothing about her story is interesting, and that's what makes her a useless character. Like, yeah, her character isn't useless to the Leaf Village or to Naruto's character, but she is useless to Naruto the anime, the manga. She's useless to the story overall. Just because she's useful to Sasuke and Naruto as fictional characters doesn't mean she's useful to the story, which she's very not useful to the story. Shino, I believe this guy's name is. He was really cool. How he utilizes his bugs to do crazy stuff is awesome. He's also a really good underdog. He just doesn't have that incredible presence that Rock Lee gets to have. There's no way he's going in S tier. I think he's got to be A tier. I think I got to put him low, though. I got to put him with, like, Zetsu. Yamato. Eh. Pretty bland. Kind of intentionally bland. But Iruka fills that role so much better. I got to put him in irrelevant. I'll put him above Donzo. Donzo blows chunks. Shikamaru. The captain. The Shadow Hokage. I think he's got to be S. I think he's got to be above any Akatsuki member. Sai is really cool. I like him more than Sasuke. Like, he's the Sasuke replacement that's way more interesting than Sasuke ever was. But because he's a replacement and doesn't get to serve as much more than that, I can't place him super high. I do like him more than. I think I'll put him just below Hinata. Tsunade. I want to put her in S tier, but I think maybe high A tier, highest of A tier. Jiraiya, clearly A tier. I think I gotta put him above these guys too. He's just incredible. He's the. If it wasn't for Kakashi, I would say Jiraiya is clearly the best like mentor character, the best sensei character. But Kakashi just is in way more of the plot. He does way more. But Jiraiya is incredible. He just adds so much comedy in his. When he trains Naruto, it's so interesting. Sasuke. Sasuke's just not there for so much. He's just off with Orochimaru for way too much of the time for it to matter. And he pops up here and there. And then he finally gets to do stuff with Itachi, and I feel like it never paid off in the way I wanted it to, which I didn't even know what I wanted it to end up being. I didn't have like high expectations, but somehow it didn't meet them. So Sasuke, because he's in enough of it, I'll put him just below Sai. Otherwise, he'd probably be around Ino. Naruto. I mean, he is the main character, but he's definitely not the best character. I think I'm gonna move Killer Bee to actually above the Akatsuki members here, Hidan, Kisame. And I think I'll put Naruto just above Killer Bee. Nagato. I separate Naruto from Pain, but I have to not do that because Pain's not on the tier list, right? So because he exists as Pain, that puts him above these other guys. Just Pain is an entire arc. he, I mean, look at what Pain does. Look at what Nagato does. He just has one of the coolest moments in the whole franchise. Gara as well. Gara's easily the coolest villain, the most intimidating villain. You can't reason with early Gara, and that's more terrifying than Madara, Orochimaru ever are because you can convince them to like take it easy. In a There's a practicality to Orochimaru and Madara and any of the Akatsuki members, besides maybe Hidan. So Gaara's like Hidan if Hidan had way more dangerous and interesting abilities. Not that Hidan doesn't have dangerous and interesting abilities, just Gaara has that like area of effect ability and that like insta one shot that Hidan has like a delayed one shot. Gaara's ridiculously awesome. But I like Rock Lee more, and I want to keep Guy next to Rock Lee. Maybe I don't. I'll put Gaara just below Rock Lee. Rock Lee and Gaara fighting each other, just insane. Pinnacle of the show. Jiraiya fighting Pain, incredible. Now Madara, any of Madara's fights don't do it for me in the way that any of those fights do. Like Pain versus the Leaf Village, even like Pain versus Kakashi and the other Leaf Village members is insane. Pain versus Naruto is insane. Naruto versus Madara, not the best fight. There's kind of just a lot of like back and forth power boosts, and it's not that entertaining, and it's anticlimactic by the end. It's dragged out. Like Killer Bee versus Kisame. Think about how fast that fight is and how actually important it is. Think about like Guy versus Kisame, right? I hate to quantify it just by terms of like specific fights, but that does paint a very important picture. The thing is that Madara overcomes that by being like this epic villain that gets this epic slow build. He gets seasons and worth of like build up. Whereas Orochimaru is just there. Like Orochimaru, bam, he's in the Leaf Village. So you don't get the although Orochimaru is very intimidating, he also has all these like minions and this like weird wide reach. So he's more of the villain you have to like progressively work against. So that makes him less of a threat, whereas Madara is just this very powerful guy. Although he also has his like minions, there's less of them and they're cooler. So yeah, I didn't think Kakashi would make the top, but he did. I thought Madara would beat him out, but I guess I didn't really. When I make these, I don't often know how I feel, how they're gonna shake out. I just make them, I work through it, and I see where people fall. And this is where they fell. Tenten deserved that redemption that I talked about. She deserved her moment in the sun. She didn't get it. That's what I would have done with the series. Especially, I thought of this like minutes into her getting her filler arc in the Infinite Tsukuyomi like dream filler arcs that were going on. I'm like, wait, wait, actually having her do something makes sense with what's on the battlefield, what's going on. If anybody's gonna get the drop on Madara, it's somebody who has that like lack of power to them, that lack of chakra, and Madara's not going to expect it. You know what I mean? Like if he's keeping track of anybody, it's gonna be the real huge threats that are under this Tsukuyomi. He's not worrying about Tenten. No one's worrying about Tenten. But boom, Tenten saves everybody. That's what I would have done. I didn't think of it until she started getting that character arc, and I'm like, wait, are they gonna actually finally have Tenten do anything? And is it gonna be the most important thing in this entire franchise? Do it. I was like, please be what it. Make that be what is about to happen, and then it didn't happen. But I was excited for a little bit.